going on, everybody? Thanks for coming by. Today, one of my first projects, we're going to do a little sign carving. What I got here on the table is a 14.5-inch diameter pre-cut round project piece from Menards. Pretty easy to buy, they're pretty cheap. It's 1.1 wide. So all we're going to do is a surface cut, and before actually get into carving it, or break away to the program Vcarve I use to do the tool paths and to lay out the sign. You're going to see that first before this thing kicks in. Basically what I have to do is bring the bit to the center point of the project. That's where it's going to start. I'll zero my X and Y there, and then I have a Z-axis, a Z probe that will set my bit for the height, and then go from there. Yeah, it's just a quick little sign cut, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Alright, so what we have here is the working drawing I made in Aspire Vcarve. And basically what I can do is draw it out, line, circles, whatever, merge everything, and then once I get the drawing how I want it, then I have to create a tool path. And the tool path is basically all the coordinates of where that thing's going to send the bit on the CNC machine. So it makes it in a G code, which 3D printers basically use that same type of code as well. It's just different format so the machine's software can read it. So all I'm going to do is real quick kind of go through from a blank drawing to what I got. And I can come back here, and I usually sometimes have stuff sitting outside the work area. So the work area is the white area that once I get it selected, I make the tool pass. That's the only thing that's going to be carved. Anything outside of that boundary is just sitting out there. And then, so all I'm going to do is I'm selecting everything. I'm going to move that out of the way. See, get that out. Like so. Now, lay canvas. Piece of material out on the machine is 14.5 inches in diameter. So I convert that to millimeters because that's how my machine carves. And on the job setup, 14.5 inches is 368.3 millimeters. Okay, and the thickness, 3/4 is 19.05 millimeters. And this is a little bit less than 1.1 so that puts us at 28.4 millimeters. Doesn't really matter because I'm not carving all the way through it. And if I turn this thing into a clock, I can keep my center point. That would be the XY datum position, which is the starting point. We can really choose where we want to start that on the cutting. But since it's I'm not working with a round bit square background setup, but I'm putting it to the center. So I'll mark the center on my project wood, and it will go there. And when I zero the machine, it's always going to go to that point as long as I don't move. Basically, I can do a cutout of the piece in any shape that I want. So when I set it up, I set the job size, the material. The zero position is usually the surface of your project piece of wood, not the wasteboard that's underneath that's clamped to it. And then the resolution, we can make it slow or high. We're just going to keep it on standard. And the appearance, so when I'm doing my views and see what it kind of looks like, I can kind of choose the type of material used, from plastic to wood, metal, so I know I'm using a piece of pine out there, and that's what we're going to do. So we can just go ahead and click off that, and that's where we have our shape. So now what I want to do is I want to make a circle, a radius that's going to be actually the project piece. So I already know the center point of the material, and then the radius is the half the distance of the 14.5. So we just click create, close. Now it didn't kind of center it, so I can just click on it and come to this fine tool and it throws it there. So now I know that that circle is what my project piece is. Okay, so what I like to do is I want to put the letters, as we saw here, on the circle. And that's, if you see these half circles up here, I think I can bring it down. And that's kind of my, I think it's like 5/8 off the edge, something like that. And that's where it's going to line up the text for me. But I don't want to, bypass that step. So let's click off here. So what I do, I'm sure there's other ways that it can be done. I make a circle and I come to the offset. 15.0. Then we just click offset. So now it's put that shape in there. So now I only need to, I can leave it a circle or I can make it a half. And the easiest way I find, let's grab the line tool. So we're going to take it, we're just going to start a line, come through it, and we're done. So we've made a half. Now all we have to do is come down to our trimmer and it'll let me start cutting away what I don't want. Get the little fins off, we go there. Now I got like a half a circle, hence that. But since I did the bottom one on the same plane, we're just gonna do a backspace, go back to there, and I can leave it there because it's not gonna stay. It's not gonna stay. But it might, because I can always bring the text in a little bit further, because if I use that as like a reference line and I just keep it in to give it a little style around the edge of it, I don't want it to blast through my letters. Okay, so now all we gotta do is come over to the text. Times New Roman is usually the go-to, so we're just going with Times New Roman. Fine, let's go up here, and I'm definitely going all caps. So you can see the size of it, where that's 40, so we could just go ahead and click close. So now, obviously, how are we going to do it there? So they make it really easy, so I just got to hold shift to click on that. Let's see if it does half like I want. So we come over to the text on a curve tool. That, okay, now I remember. So let's close that, we're going to undo that. That's what I have to do. Let's get that up. It defaults to the bottom. And for this, we're going back to my half round, close it, my scissors. Oops. Took a little bit more than I wanted. Unnecessary. Close. Now let's select the text, select the circle, text on the curve. So it kind of got us there. So now we want the letters below, but they're upside down. So let's try this. Click that, makes them right. Now it's above the curve. We want it to be below the curve. And also, you know what? I want the letters to be with the radius. So this fine tool here changes it. It's like magic. So now, as you can see, we're kind of cross on the letters. Now we come here and do a spacing, and it kind of opens it up. And see what's nice about it is I've opened it up, but it's kept it within the radius, so it automatically adjusts. You know, basically that's what it's doing. It's making the text smaller to fit that radius. So I just want it to be kind of even. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with the way that's going. Okay, so I know that circle. As you can see, now if I were to leave that, it's kind of intruding. So I could get rid of it, like so. But since that board outside in the workshop is already round, you know, I can just leave it at that, call it a day. And I think that's what I will do. I don't have to do anything else because that's a good distance. I do have to clamp that down. Okay, so now, you know, I already have that made. Let's just bring it down. Okay. Who are we kidding? I got it made, I'm going to use it. So now I can come over to here to be centered, but I know I have to bring it up a little bit, and I believe can't move it like that. So now we can move it up, and that's probably good right about at that line because that's where we split it. Okay, so now back to text. We are carving and wood. I plan to have an array of projects to do. Hopefully everybody enjoys it. Or if you know, maybe you have a relative or a friend that might be interested in it. And share the videos with them. I appreciate that. So now, include that, text to that. It's too long to fit the curve. Whoa! Flip it. Drop the scale down, don't be all freaky on me. Let's just do that. We're above the curve, align the curve, so that's better. Bring that up a little bit. It's just a little bit smaller. That works for me. So I just got to know that when I'm carving it, I either have to move it up so the G hits, or I don't put my clamp there. So I know, like, where my 45 point is, I can just grab it. I have bump clamps as well, where it would bump the edge versus clamping on the top, but there's just different ways to do it. So that's good there. I'm happy with it. I know it's center. Goodbye to that. That's fine. So we're getting closer. I made the text a little bit bigger, and we got to do the CNC. Okay. That we will do caps, CNC. Now you can see what it is. Alright, we can make it italic. Now, it just depends what font you use. Times New Roman really does a nice job. Obviously, then you can test out other types. I've been using, what is that? The Skinner Skort, which is my YouTube graphics. Alright, so, you know, we don't want to go anything really crazy because see that. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so let's close that. Actually, we could do center, center. That's where I want it. Close. Scale. Undo that. Hold the shift. It keeps it in the middle. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so obviously we're all there. I'm doing a quick save. Let me delete that because that is not a proper tool. So, save that again. Now we just want to select all, because I'm not doing bit changes or anything. It's all going for one cut. So, let's get rid of that outer line since we don't need it. And then the tool path I want to use, see, I can do an engraving, but that's not going to be what we want. We're going to do a Vcarve because I am going to use a V bit, which is here. It's actually got 3 blades on it. I'm going to do a 2mm pass depth. That's how deep the bit's going to go into the material every pass. And there's other settings we're going to go over. I want to kind of kick it up a little bit for the filming, so we're at 70mm a second. I just want to make sure that that's all set, so that's our bit. We don't have to worry about anything else. We come down, we have a tool path. We want to name it intro, wait, GB intro 55. That's what we're going for, except let's turn the caps off. Do it right. So we're calculating. Okay, now I come over here and we're going to preview everything. So now it's going to show me how it's going to carve that out. Which is fine. That's a deep tool path for that. Just like watching plastic print. Let's get that fast. So there's where, you know, the way the bit's going to go is finding its best path. So that's what it's really going to do. So now I can move it. And then you can kind of see it. So it's digging a little deep. Okay. Which is fine. But yeah, it's going to be fine. Going to be fine. So you can see how it's made the tool path, so it's going inside everything, which is nice. Okay, and the wider it is, it's going to hit the 2mm mark. Okay, very cool. Get that back so it's, and that's so my thickness of my wood, and that's how it's going to react. I'm happy with that. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to save. Now I have to export this. I can come to here to time. So it's telling me it's going to take 9 minutes and 49 seconds to do this. And that's very good. Now if there's other things I wanted to do, different shapes or different looks, I would choose a different tool path, a different bit, and I can make everything separate. I don't have to do everything at once. I could choose this or choose that and change bits out. But we're not doing that. It's just going to be the same bit across the board. So now we're all good. I'm happy. We come to here, my Mach 3, it's going to make the G code, which is basically a text document. So it's not .G code out of here, it's a TXT file that the program reads. And I can, this software, this post-processor, and you can go from, Xcarve is a nice machine, and different versions of machines. Okay, but that's what we're using, so we're going to save that toolpath. You can see I've already got some things going. Click save. Hopefully you weren't too bored with this section of the project. Alright, well, came out pretty decent. I didn't put a poly coat on it. I didn't want it to roll that edge up like it's done before. So just kind of give it a, Nice weathered look. I'll probably just do a poly on it. I'm not even going to do any colors on the letters. Give it a light sanding. Once I give it a poly, let's call me all she wrote. But I thank everybody for coming by. Please like and subscribe the channel. Spread the word. If you have some friends or family that are into woodworking, absolutely pass the link along. Hopefully I have a lot more content coming up. A little slow go, but we're going to get there. Thanks for coming by.